Welcome to the T Simple Podcast. We focus on providing simple solutions in the classroom. I have my just a great coworker and a teacher who is an exemplar, someone who the kids would never forget their names because she did not only teach them amazing subject like English or writing, but she gave them experiences that just they never forgot, those emotions, right? They say a kid might forget, what you teach them, but they never forget how you feel. And I got Miss Vickie Willis up in the house, coming in here with the feels. We got to be feeling a lot up in here. She's an amazing teacher in Detroit. She attended Northwestern High School. She has a master's degree in education. She's been teaching in both high school, so secondary and middle school for almost 10 years. Go ahead, raise a roof for yourself, Vickie.
Okay.
Bet in this game, killing it. Because when I say I'm 6 years in the game, I'm like, yeah, I'm still a rookie, Everybody that's 3 years in the game, y'all just need to listen. Just take your time because you're not where you need to be. But 10 years in the game.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah.
I just got to give you that pause. Like, let that breathe, right?
Well, thank you.
Yeah, this is crazy. Like, again, proud Detroiter, Metro Detroiter. She has a degree in mental health counseling. We're going to talk about the importance of mental health. And just as a Black community, we need to take care of that, because we have all the physical things going on. We are amazing in this. We are beautiful people, but we can be all of that and be dying inside slowly.
Absolutely.
And we want to make sure that we bring attention to that. But Vickie is not only all these amazing things. You will find her in DR, Puerto Rico, on a beach, chilling with the sun beaming. She's getting an amazing sunny D. She loves to travel, spend time with her family. She has this cute dog that has the most aggressive bark in the world. So when you come up, it might be the dog, but it's okay because the dog is with us today. She tries to educate today's youth and things. She loves to also, you're a cheer coach, right? Or was a cheer coach?
Yes, I am. Yes.
So she can break it down for you on the court. She's she wishes she was taught as a child financial literacy, mental health, conflict resolution, and just community service. Vickie Willis in the T Simple Podcast. How you doing?
Thank you. I'm good. Wow, Nelum, that was an awesome intro. Okay.
You like that?
Good. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. I told you that was just to do now. I had to.
Okay.
Put some respect.
I like it.
Yeah, absolutely. So how you doing today, Ms. Willis?
I'm great. Just trying to stay safe.
Yeah, absolutely, right? You got to deal with COVID. We got to deal with grading. We got to deal with all problems.
Listen, as a teacher, I know we're all burnt out. I know I'm looking forward to the summer, okay?
Absolutely.
Just this whole shift was interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have to adapt, So, yeah. So let's get into the teacher tip of the week. So teacher tip of the week, like I said, I do a tip every episode because if I do at least 30 episodes, that's 30 tips. 30 tips can at least keep one teacher in the classroom. So if I can keep one teacher in the classroom, I could save, 150 kids. You know what I'm saying? Because we know if we lose a teacher, that's like a piece of our heart it just fell off. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I talking about depression. Like when a teacher leaves, I be mad. I be mad. I be like, oh my God, who's gonna teach our kids?
Yes, I was gonna say because it's hurting the kids because then they'll have just a different teacher every other week and yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So my teacher tip of the week is teachers. You have the power. You have the knowledge to go to mileage. So build that brand up. If you got 3 degrees, you're an expert, at least a novice. You know what I'm saying? Start a website. Start consulting. One thing I'll say about Clubhouse, I've met at least 50 educational consultants. Right? And consulting is just a fancy word for advice. You know what I mean? So use YouTube, use social media, use Shopify. Build your brand, be the edupreneur, right? And make more than what you aren't getting, right? Because you deserve $1 million. So make that $1 million and come back and be like, I got the $1 million and I'm going to teach everybody else how to do it. You know what I mean?
That's a good tip.
Yeah. Thank you. The stage. So I've been waiting for this tip. So go ahead, Vickie. Go ahead and give us the the tip from the heart for the teachers.
All right. So my teacher tip would be um, self-care.
Yeah.
Um, very, very important for yourself as an educator and for the scholars as well. So especially with this virtual reality that we're in now, um, self-care is so very important. We can't educate our scholars if we aren't taking care of ourselves first. And so I think it's very important. So whatever that may be, whether it's maybe it's um, writing in your journals every day, or writing poetry, or exercising, whatever your hobby or whatever it is that makes you feel good, that kind of takes you away from this reality for a second, then do it. I think it's very important because we get so stressed. I mean, just thinking about our kids, and some of the kids, when we think about we're online and we kind of think about what their household is like right now, and it's hard for it not to affect you, just as an educator, because that's what we do. We care about kids. So when we feel like there's children that's out here being hurt, or now they're home all day with a parent who's abusive, then sometimes that can weigh on us as well. So I think self-care is so important. Got to take care of yourself.
Raise the roof for self-care. Absolutely. So thank you. And you set the tone. We're really going to really talk about that. I found that a lot of teachers are leaving the profession because of that. You can get all the scores in the world, kids can be passing, but if you don't feel like you're not, I guess, worthy, or feel like you're getting the embellishment that you think you deserve, you could become your worst enemy.
Absolutely.
So,
and let's be honest, we don't get the credit we deserve at all, or the appreciation at all. So yeah.
I've talked to people that left, that have left, and I'll be like, is there anything we can do to keep you? And then they'll just be like, no. I'll say something like right before they leave, and I'll be like, well, it was a pleasure to have you. It was nice working with you. And then they'll respond like, that's the first time I've heard that. I'm like, what?
Right.
You've heard that?
Wow.
Really? And I bring that story up because it's so many just like people that have these intentions, right? And they use their platform and their power to change certain school systems, and then they'll leave.
Yeah.
So let's talk about a city I feel that is not getting the respect it deserves, Detroit, man. What's so significant about this city?
Growing up in Detroit, it was tough. But Detroit is what I know is my home. So, I think things have changed now, but I just remember growing up, and living in Detroit. It was different. It was like so much more family oriented. So it was just different. Um, I think growing up, I wasn't, and I think this goes for like a lot of kids who attend Detroit schools. I wasn't exposed to a lot of the things that Detroit had to offer until I got a little older. So when I think about the different museums, and I think about the history of the automotive industry, and think about all those different things that Detroit has to offer, I wasn't exposed to that as a kid. So I didn't really appreciate that until I became more so of an adult, where I could explore myself. But Detroit is a beautiful city for sure.
Absolutely. And I've heard kids, they've never been to Mexican Town before. They live on the west side of Detroit. It's like 10 minutes.
Probably some of them probably never even heard of Mexican Town. If you mentioned it to them, they probably never heard of it. So it's interesting. Like I never was exposed to it.
Why?
That's a good question. I don't understand why. When we were in school, that was the case. We just never, I don't even remember taking a lot of field trips when I was in school.
Mm.
Things where education was so different. It was so, when I think about education now and I think about education when I was in school, it's so different. Everything was just, strictly taught by the book. Everything came out of a textbook. If it wasn't in a textbook, it wasn't getting taught. Um, and we just weren't exposed to a lot of different things at all.
Oh, so growing up, what were some things that happened to kind of push you to be in this amazing job? Like, like what were some of the trials? What were some of the things growing up? I remember we were talking earlier, like education was your escape, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, talk about
Mm-hmm.
that.
Um, so for me, I just really grew up in, so I'm gonna say probably when I reached the age of maybe about 9, is when my home life became very, very unstable. So my mom, she was addicted to drugs, and she would just be gone for like months at a time. Like we wouldn't know where she is. I remember me and my grandmother kind of going out trying to search and find her because we were worried. Um, and then I was always with my grandmother. She kind of took care of me, but my grandmother was an alcoholic. So I experienced a lot of emotional abuse growing up. So I think as I've started just dealing with all of these things, and then my sisters and my brothers came along because me and my sister were 10 years apart. I'm the oldest. So then my sister came along, and then I had my brothers. And it was kind of like we were dealing with so much. And it's like, this can't be it. This can't be life. It has to be something else out there. And so I did have my counselor actually in high school. Um, she Miss Mason, I'll never forget. She was just so motivational. So, her thing was she was making sure that I applied for any school, like she knew my home situation. So, she kind of pushed me, like, you need to just get away. And so it was just like, I got to do something different. I can't go down this same path that majority of my family has went down.
I'm gonna cut you off. I need you to raise the roof for Miss Mason right now because she's
Yes.
someone that definitely was a climax in
Yes.
your life that you needed. Go ahead.
Yes. And I think I had like with her and my mentor in college. Like I don't know what I and as an educator, please, please, please understand that you may feel like you're not sometimes making an impact, but kids they remember. Like I remember Miss Mason and I remember my mentor, Miss Lucas in college. Like they'll remember you, and especially if you were played a positive role in their life and kind of pushed them, they'll remember. Like it's amazing because I honestly, if it wasn't for Miss Mason, I probably wouldn't have went to anybody's school when it came to college. Um, and then in college, if it wasn't for my mentor in college, because I was really going through a depression and dealing with a lot in college, if it wasn't for her pushing me and just being there for me if I needed help financially, whatever it was, she was just there and it just pushed me. And that was just kind of like my motivation. Once I started, it was like, okay, I can't stop now. Can't stop now. Got to keep pushing.
So you said up until you were 9. So kind of talk about like how was it before when like before you were 9, like maybe
Mhm.
school, maybe like I guess life in general, and then what was that? How did it change like emotionally after? Yeah.
So before, life was great. My mom, she actually she was working and she was in school actually. She had went to a community college. Um, we just did a lot of things together as a family. Life was good. Like I had no worries. She was there. And then my life began to shift, unfortunately, when she met a man and he kind of it's just like once she met him, my life just did a total 360. It was kind of like because he was very abusive. Um, my mom then became really heavy into the motorcycle clubs. And so that's when her addiction began to form. And then that's when it was just those drugs. Listen, I was so angry at my mom for so long until I realized it's an illness.
Yeah.
Addiction is an illness. So yeah, life before that though, like my mom, it was great. Like I didn't have any worries. That it was awesome. Like, and then I was able to kind of look at her, but she, because she was working and she was in school. So I was able to kind of look at her, but then it all just stopped.
Okay. So now you have this reality, but so you're an adolescent now, right? So you're in high school, you're in school, you have, maturity, puberty, you have prom, you have boys, friends, parties, talk about that. So mentally too, I want to like keep on a mental aspect. So like what's going on in your head when you're in school, when you're trying to get these grades? What's going on in your head when you're socializing? I'm assuming that a lot of that probably motivated you to probably leave and get out. But one thing we do know that when we leave though, that doesn't solve the problem.
Not at all.
Yeah, but before you talk about that, go ahead. Yeah, so yeah.
It was hard, which is why I can relate to a lot of our kids now. Yeah, it was hard. It's like I didn't get the best grades in high school, and mainly because I wasn't focused enough. I had too many things going on at home that I was dealing with. And I was trying to, come to school every day and put on this, facade, like, nothing is wrong. But inside, I was dealing with a lot as a child, as an adolescent. It was just a lot. So my grades definitely was affected. Like I definitely in high school, if my family situation was different, I think that my high school career, as far as my grades and things like that, would have been so much better, 10 times better.
You was like daydreaming in class, or like whenever you do your homework, you just like, I don't even want to do this stuff. Like
I don't want to do it. It was like, who cares if I do it, if I don't? I mean, it's not like, I had a parent that was going to come up to the school and go to parent teacher conference, or who was asking me, do I have homework, or asking me where's my report card? Like, who cares? If my mom didn't care, I mean, it was just like, and for me, it would be, I would sit in class and it would be more so focusing on what am I going to have to face when I get home after school? Is my mom going to be there? Or is my grandmother, if she's there, is she going to be drunk and I'm going to have to go and lock myself in my room? So I was focused on, okay, after school, what is my life going to be like? So it's a lot. And it's kind of like you're battling. So it's like, I know I got to do this for school because I know like it's got to be something better than what I'm looking at now. But then it's like, but you kind of go through this kind of like depression, or kind of like you feel like everybody wants a parent who cares. So it's kind of like if you had a parent and they're like, and let me say this, my mom was a great woman. It's just the drugs kind of, when she got addicted to drugs, she was no longer my mom, not the mother that I knew. So it was, but as a kid, that doesn't register for you. You don't realize that the addiction is an illness. So you take it as my mom didn't care. Like she don't care what I do. So if she don't care, and that's the number one person that I'm really concerned about, then why should I care? It's that type of thing. And I know kids deal with it. I mean, you hear from our scholars, they'll say like, I know the motivation not there. I don't know. I'm just done, or I just give up.
That's it. They're like,
yeah, like,
no, I didn't do it. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know. That's what they say. You like, you don't know. You know how they are.
Yeah. But they're so blunt with it. They're like, I didn't do it, Mr. Nello.
Yeah. Miss Woods, I ain't gonna even lie to you. I didn't even do it. I didn't do that essay. I didn't.
Yeah. So and it just sounds like kids are just forced to grow up so fast because their current situations,
Mm-hmm.
literally lost their innocence. You know, like they literally lost their. They don't have that. So one thing my mom used to always do, man, she'd be like, Calvin, what's the name of that sign? Oh, it's a stop sign. Good job, Calvin. Proud of you. Proud of you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, name of that sign. Oh, that's the walking sign. Oh, good job, Calvin. Okay. And then the report card come up. I get all A's. Okay, Calvin, we're gonna get you a toy. Good job, Calvin. And then one thing that did, it just motivated me to like always want to get good grades because I knew there was incentive, right? I knew that my mother
Mm-hmm.
would give me that affirmation. But if that's not there on a chronic basis, right? It's just not
Mm-hmm.
there. Like you
Mm-hmm.
come home and it's not good morning, it's not hello, it's I don't know if it was that, but it's just the absence of family, I guess. No, excuse me.
Yeah.
So what is it? How do you deal with that? We're still on like maybe like in like junior, senior year now. How do you how do you deal with school when you're forced to be an adult? Get this rap song from Kendrick Lamar. He said I used to want to see the penitentiary right, up in elementary. Thought it was cool to look the judge in the face when he sentenced me. Since my uncle was institutionalized, my intuition had said I was suited for family ties.
Mm. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
because he sees that, then that's just his reality. You know, but go
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Um, it's hard. As a kids and as an adolescent, you don't understand, and that brings you back to the mental health part. You don't understand. You don't even know that really you're depressed.
Wow.
Like because again, like now, mental health is being talked about more in our community. Growing up, for me, it was not. Mental health was not a thing. You know, um, but when I think back on it now, and even when I think about some of our scholars now, sometimes we can be in a depression and not even know that we're in a depression. And I think for me, my adolescent years, that I never was real sociable.
Mm.
Um, when I was in high school, I had my few friends that I hung around, but I never was, the popular girl or the one who just knew everybody. Um, if you knew me all because of probably my in high school, my boyfriend in high school was, he was a popular person. Um, but I didn't go anywhere. I didn't hang out, like the normal high school or adolescent would do. I didn't hang out like that. So um I didn't even really like having like I had like maybe one or two friends, but I didn't even want people to come to my house over to my house just because I used to be so embarrassed. Um so it it was hard. Like now when I think about it, like I was going through a depression. Like it was really, really hard. And it really for me, for high school, to be transparent, it was I'm probably not gonna get all A's and B's, but let me just get enough so I can get by and graduate. Let me just get that part over with until my counselor, exposed me to other options as far as post-secondary education goes. Because at first my mind was, I just want to just graduate. I don't even need the A's and B's. I ain't even put forth that effort.
Yeah. Yeah. So you graduate, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you go to college.
I do. So
So yeah, so we all know if you have that either a family where you have a helicopter mom or maybe a situation where it's just not a great support system, leaving the house is like the best thing ever, right?
oh yeah.
Right? And we
Yes.
think that is probably gonna solve the issue. J. Cole has a song, it's called Once an Addict, and he talks about that same situation. His mother was also on drugs, and
Mm-hmm.
she was also alcoholic. And that motivated him to get a scholarship so he can go to New York and go to Rutgers. He
Mm-hmm.
said that when he left, though, his mother would call him. And those phone calls would bring back all that anxiety, all that things that he tried to run for him. And it was just like all over again.
Yes.
What could you add to that? Yeah, just maybe can you relate or just
Oh yes. Oh, absolutely. And I'm sure again, I keep going back to our babies just because these are some of the same things that they're dealing with. Um, but yes, so college for me was an escape, and that's why I said that before. Like it was kind of like once my counselor she sat me down and we started applying to all these different schools. I wanted to go as far away as possible. But unfortunately, I couldn't afford to go far. So I had to stay in Michigan and I went to Ferris State University. So for me, Ferris State is like, it's not too close, but it's not real far either.
yeah.
You know, so it still for me was like, I'm getting away. It may only be 3.5 hours, but it's 3.5 hours from the
Right.
situation I had to deal with at home. Um, and yes, we do think that once we get there, we get away, you think life is gonna be better, but it's not mentally. Um, you kind of have a better peace of mind just because you're not in that environment. Um, but everything that you're dealing with at home is still there. Because you still have, like when I first went to Ferris, my roommate, her mom was kind of like the helicopter mom. So, she would send her care packages and send her money. And, I didn't have that. I ain't know my mom or father or anybody was sending me a care package or sending me any kind of money. Or, it was me surviving off my financial aid. And then that brings us to financial literacy because, of course, we know how I was getting financial aid was I had loans. So I was getting a refund check, and that's how I was surviving off of that. But but then when I look at my roommate, and thank God for her mom, because her mom would sometimes send me a care package if she sent her one. Yeah, she was really, really sweet.
Nice.
But I was going through a depression then, especially my freshman year. My freshman year was the hardest year I had ever experienced.
Wow.
Because I was in such I was in a depression, and then I was in kind of a controlling relationship. I was still with my high school boyfriend. He was very, very, very controlling. So it was a lot. It was a lot. And that's when my mentor came. And really, my mentor, she saved my life because I promise I would not have continued on. I would have been right back here in Detroit. I didn't have at that time anything positive, that positive role model at that time. You know what I'm saying? So it was kind of like, yeah, let me just graduate from high school and then I'll just figure the rest out.
Wow.
But again, you got my counselor, and that's why we as educators, we make a huge difference in kids' lives.
Let's shout her name out again, please.
Yes.
Shout her name out. Do you remember her name?
Miss Mason in high school, and then in college, her Miss Lucas. She's still my mentor from college. I still
Okay,
keep
raise
in
it
contact
for
with
her,
her.
please.
Yes.
Oh gosh. Wow.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. How you feel? How you feel?
I'm good. I'm good.
You like the
I'm
questions?
good. I'm good. So, Nelum, did you grow up in Are you from New Orleans?
Yeah.
Okay, I never knew that. I
Yep.
remember you mentioned it earlier. I never knew you were from New Orleans. Okay.
Yep. Yep. Born and raised in New Orleans. Grew up with a single mother. My dad left stupid early. And my brother also, he struggled with drug addiction.
Okay.
He's currently incarcerated right now, actually. And he struggles so much with it to where my mother pretty much had to disown him because he was not only in that, he was in gangs. He was getting shot up, and my mother had to go to the hospital. Yeah, I know, man. You're right. It's crazy. Overdosed, a bunch of times. I'll tell a real quick story. The police were looking for my brother at one point, and my mother is the example of a come up story. Like, she's from the Lafitte projects, got a master's plus 30, moved on the suburbs of New Orleans, bought her own house, We in the whole, you already know our
Yes.
house is the house. You know, everybody in the city coming to,
Come to your house.
right, you know, everybody there, right?
Uh-huh.
Because you were transparent, I'm gonna be transparent because I love this conversation. I hope you're enjoying it. This is
I am.
so everybody's there. Grandmother's there, the matriarch's there, all the aunts, everybody's there. This is the house to be at, right? This is why I'm family oriented, because all my family from DC, California will always come to my house for Thanksgiving and Christmas, and I got to see everybody that looked like me. We was chilling. I loved it. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Uh-huh.
So the cops are looking for my brother on Christmas Day.
Wow.
I kid you not. A SWAT team comes to the house, and they're coming with guns blazing, like guns out.
Oh, wow.
They pushed my grandmother on the floor. You know how they are, stupid.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
because they're looking for my brother.
Wow.
And so from there, my mom was just like, I have this son here, and I know that everything you're doing, he's going to try to do it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, and she had to disown him, you know, and he still was making those just crazy decisions. And he wasn't a product of his environment. He just was someone who didn't have his dad. And he just,
Mm-hmm.
you know, but.
Now, is he younger than or older than you
My
know?
older brother.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's my big brother. Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, and so, yeah, so, but that mentor, like you said, like that was a big change. So why teaching? You know, like, so I feel like maybe I can guess it's like, for me, I felt blessed enough to make it out of New Orleans because after Katrina, because my life actually got better. You know, I was able to move to Virginia and be in a better school system, unfortunately. I was able to see different diversity. I was able to be in an AVID program. I was able to just expand my horizons and go to college in Virginia. And I was like, man, I feel like this survivor's remorse. I have to go back in the classroom and let me give back, because I was blessed enough to have these opportunities. Let me give back, right? But we know even that doesn't solve what we got going on in here, right? Because we think that maybe if I give back, right, I give myself, right, everything, then maybe God will bless me and, you know, help me with but it doesn't work like that, right?
No, it doesn't.
Yes, we keep talking about this same thing, right? Running away from our demons.
Yeah, we think they're gonna go and they're not gonna go anywhere. It's not going anywhere. You know, it's it's interesting. So I remember when my original plan was not to be an educator.
Okay.
My original plan was I wanted to be a public speaker.
Oh.
Yes, I wanted to be a public speaker, and I wanted to talk. I still wanted to work with youth, but it was more so of I wanted to just to speak to kids, just tell my story, to give them that faith and let them know that, yeah, things may be hard right now, but you got to keep pushing. You know, you have to want more. And so that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to go around and just speak and tell about my life and kind of be like a motivational speaker. Yeah. So what happened was I ended up tutoring. I was a reading tutor in college. And it was just, I loved it. And I still felt like, because I love working with kids. I just love it in any aspect. I just love working with kids. And so it was just so fulfilling to work with, you know, even though I was just a tutor, and it was just so fulfilling, like just tutoring this child and then helping her build that knowledge and knowing like, yeah. I was a part of that. Yeah. Yeah, like I'm a part of that. Yes. And so from that point, and then me being a substitute teacher, I said, this is it. This is it. And then the mental health came along. And honestly, I feel like education and mental health go hand in hand.
Yeah. So you are a first year teacher. What was it like?
Ah,
I'm sorry, because I know you said you were a mental. You went to you have a degree in mental health counseling, right?
yes, I have a master's degree in mental health counseling.
Okay. So then, yeah. So maybe let's talk. I don't know if that was like you was teaching while doing that. I don't know. Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, let's talk. Okay. Bet. So what was that first year teacher like? What was that like for
Oh.
you? We know. How many kids you
Oh my
kicked
gosh.
out? How many kids you throw?
Oh my gosh. Listen.
How many times you get called out from admin because you cussed the kid out?
Oh my God. Listen, I had a chair thrown at me. Okay. Yes. Yes.
Oh,
Yes. The little
oh
boy threw
my
a chair
God.
at me. Oh my God. That first year, it was hard. Cause one, I was young. I was
Yeah.
like you, just young. Like, so, the kids, it was kind of like, getting that respect from them because they're looking at you like you on their level. Like, what? Like, so that was hard in itself, and then, as a first year teacher, that classroom management, baby, that's some, that's a beast.
Yeah. It's hard.
That's a beast. And so,
It's hard.
but I don't know. It was also one of those situations where it started off real bad, but then in the end, it was better. And it seemed like from that point on, I don't know. It's just like kids kind of, I guess, gravitate to me, like, I
Yes.
don't know. They like now, even, the kids,
Oh yeah.
they look at me, a lot of them don't even look at me as their instructor. They look at me like I'm their auntie or,
Oh
you
yeah.
know. So
Absolutely.
it's, I don't know. But that freshman year, that first year, yeah, that was hard.
Yeah. But you prevailed, right? And
Yeah.
10 years. You 10 years in the game, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta give yourself a pat on the back for that for sure.
Oh yeah, thank you.
So
Yeah, but I kind of got burnt out, and then that's when I switched careers and went into mental health.
okay.
So I was teaching for a couple of years, and then I decided to go back to school for mental health. So while I was teaching, I was working on my mental health degree, and then I switched careers and went into mental health.
So you're learning all these types of traumas, acute trauma, vicarious trauma, right? All these
Yes.
types of traumas. Are you literally unraveling your like childhood while you're getting this degree?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yes. And even listening, and that's how I know, like, it's like a cycle. um you would think a lot of the stuff that I dealt with, that this generation wouldn't be dealing with, but it's still kind of the same. May not necessarily be more so, because of course when I was growing up, crack, that was during that crack pandemic.
Was it really?
Yeah, that was during, like, 80s. That was when crack was really, it
And
was it was it
and
was bad. So it's probably people in my generation, if you ask them, I'm probably sure at least 70 to 75% has grew up in a home where their parent was addicted during that time. Yeah,
75?
guaranteed. I can guarantee that number is high, because that was during when crack was just being, like, introduced over here. Like, it was real bad. It was bad.
Because you had like crack houses, right? And people
Yep, you had crack houses.
houses.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yep, it
I
was
heard it
bad.
was really bad here. Like it was really
Yeah, it was bad during that time. And so you think that, these kids aren't dealing with it, but they're just dealing with something similar. It just may not be, with
yeah.
that addiction.
They're being raised by the parents of the because I don't want to sound disrespectful because I'm not from Detroit, so I don't even want to, but if you get what I'm saying, like they're being raised by the parents of the 80s. That makes sense. No,
Yeah.
they're
Yes. Yeah.
grandparents of 80s babies. Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
there you go.
Yep.
And we know what
Absolutely.
they are. And okay, so what are you learning about just mental health while you're getting this degree?
Um,
About yourself.
so this is where I'm now getting introduced to all of these different diagnoses like depression and anxiety. And now I'm learning about all these different things about, bipolar and schizophrenia and just all of these different things. And so that's what made me kind of think back and realize like I was depressed. Like as a child, I was depressed. In college, for the most part, I was depressed. I never knew what it was until, I started studying this. And I realized, I look back on it, that's what it was. And I see it in our kids all the time. All the time. That depression, like I see it. So, as I'm learning, I'm thinking about all the, different things that I went through growing up. And I'm thinking about how it has affected me. My self-esteem has affected me as far as my social skills, like all of that. And so, and it's like I said, now I'm finally getting to that place to where I'm happy, yeah, I'm finally getting to that place. I still have, things because even though, I'm getting ready to be 45, I still have things that I deal with, from my past, and it's still affecting things the way that I handle different situations now in life. It still has an effect on that.
And I applaud you for that. Seriously.
Thank you.
I love the relationship you have with your kids. Like you said, they call you auntie. So like, I guess, you in the game and 10 years in the game and you have that first week with kids. Like, how are you building those relationships? Like you said, you can tell, you were recognizing that you were depressed. How do you know if a kid is depressed, And then, what is your magic? What's your little antidote that you give them? You give them that Auntie Matt. Yeah, you just be, yeah, I get it. I know. You just be Auntie Willis. There you go.
Yeah, I mean, when you're a teacher, so kids are very self-aware and they're very smart and observant. So as a teacher, a kid can sniff a person that doesn't care. They can sniff you out instantly. So you can walk in the classroom, they can tell whether you're there for them or you're just there to, as using it as a stepping stone, whatever. But they know, they know when a teacher really cares. And once they know that, everything else comes easy. Because once they know that you care, you've already built that respect. You've already started with building a relationship with them because they know you care. So now they're going to come to you and be more open with you and talk to you. So I think once you have that and the kids know it, it's not hard there because they're going to respect you at that point. So the classroom management becomes easy because it's kind of like with, when they had that respect for you, it's like, okay, well, Miss Willis don't like that. So it just comes natural. It just is easy from that point.
Like clockwork.
Yeah. And so I think a lot of times some teachers have a difficult time with classroom management because they're not authentic. And so when you go in the classroom and you're not authentic, you're not going to get that. You're not going to get that kind of respect like that from the kids.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's just being yourself, right? And being honest.
Yeah, and that's being yourself. Yeah.
I'm a white teacher and I don't know nothing about Black culture, but I'm willing to learn. Can y'all teach me? No white teacher's going to say that. You know what I'm saying? But
right.
If you said that might actually help.
It might help. Like, listen, like I want to teach like for real. But I feel like if you're a white teacher and you can relate to, your population, the students that you're teaching, then you need to educate yourself. Why are you going to go, teach in a school that's majority Black, but you know nothing about the culture?
And that's just
how do you think? Yeah, like that's not going to work out well for you.
Yeah, if you go overseas to teach in China, You can't be teaching like you would teach in America. You have to you might use those basic fundamentals, but there's going to be a lot of other things you're going to have to add to your repertoire so you can be effective. You know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And as an educator, like you have a degree and not be a good educator. I mean, you can.
Oh Lord, too many.
Yeah, so I think that's what it is. And that, like to point out some of those mental health things, um, ask, if I have a scholar and she comes in my room and normally me and her have had a conversation, her personality is usually, she's maybe upbeat, and then she comes in the classroom and her whole demeanor is different. Then I'm going to ask, what's wrong? Are you okay? Is everything good? Are you, I'm going to ask because I see the difference. This is not who you were yesterday. So something happened. What happened? What changed? And sometimes you have to ask. And that's another way how you build those relationships. You have to pay attention.
Yeah.
You got to pay attention.
Yeah, and that reason could be so many things. It could be hunger. It could be trauma. It could be gunshots at night. It could be gunshots through your window. It could be instant family death that just happened. It could be an argument. It could be abuse. It could be, it could be so many things.
So many things. Yes. So many things.
Yeah. And you brought it up. Like if you're coming into these environments, you have to have at least a novice understanding that these factors are going to change the way you teach. And you have
absolutely
towards that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and if you're not going to be responsive towards that, it's like, why the hell are you here?
Exactly.
You're not here to get paid, for sure.
For sure. For sure. Please understand. Teaching, if you're going into teaching, it ain't for the money.
Yeah.
Okay. It's definitely because you have a care for kids and you want to make a change. But yeah, definitely not the money.
At all. And so I want to talk about the happiness a little bit more. So, what was the day before you were like, man, I feel like I'm getting happy? And the next day you're like, yo, I'm happy. Yeah. Like what changed? Was it like, I don't know, flowers pop? I don't know. Was it a movie?
No. And you know what? It's up and down. So it's up and down. So some days I do get, I get down. But I think for me, the happiness now is figuring out exactly who I am. Like I can focus just on me, I think the pandemic actually, I think everybody should have been able to do some soul searching during this time. I think everybody. So, and I think that's what just spending, because I don't have any kids. So during the pandemic, I'm here by myself. So I had nothing to do but think. I was writing in my journal, just doing different things, becoming more self-aware of what I want. It was, and it's still a journey, but I'm like, okay, I can focus on me now. My sister, she has her whole family of her own. My brothers got their own family. So now it's me. So that's where it's coming from. It's like, that's why I say that self-care is so important. You got to take care of yourself.
Absolutely. And I could feel it through this Zoom. I could feel the happiness radiating off of you.
Yes.
Absolutely. So when we gonna get this book? And when we gonna get these speeches, sis? Come on, like you need to stop.
I know, and I really have been thinking really hard about kind of just telling my story within a book. I really have. I know you're right.
Yeah, and you can even do it from a perspective of a teacher, because teaching is such in high demand right now, and we don't care about the materialism no more. We want inspiration.
Yes,
and that's not just teachers who need it; it's this whole world. We
need
inspiration. We need relatability. We want to be able to talk to your sister and be able to, okay, I went through that as well.
Yeah, you're right. And I've been thinking about it. So yeah.
That's why I would say Clubhouse is such a blessing, because you'll meet so many. I've interviewed at least 1, 2, 3, 4. I've interviewed at least 4 people that are in education and they have their books.
Really?
Yeah, and they're pushing it out, and they're just getting started, or they have the copy and they're still promoting it, or they, like there's so
Mm-hmm.
many different levels, but you have to get started,
Yeah.
and you got it, sis. You got the story, you got the image, you got the experience, you got the expertise.
Be dismissed for the summer. Ask me where I'm at with my book, and I should be able to tell you.
So this is what we're gonna do. You're gonna come back on the podcast whenever you're ready, and just give us the update on the process, and I could probably connect you with some people too. You on IG?
Uh-huh.
Okay, I'm gonna get your ID. I'm gonna get your IG before you go, and I'm gonna try to connect you. You have an iPhone, right?
Yes.
I need you to get you on Clubhouse.
No, I need to be the when you were
I
mentioning
need
it.
you to download Clubhouse, make the account,
Okay.
and then just let me know, and then I'm gonna make sure you get in the right spaces and stuff, and maybe we can meet on Clubhouse. But get on Clubhouse so you can make those connections, sis, because there's so many. Because you have the story. It's just who's gonna see it? You know what I'm saying? We need to
Right.
see it.
Right.
We gotta see it. So just put it in the
Okay.
fruition, sis. I support it for real.
Yes. Sounds like a plan. Okay. Yes, I'm definitely gonna do that.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And so as we wrap up, I got my sister Vickie Willis, native of Detroit, 10 years of education. She got a degree in mental health. She is a master teacher. She is coming through with the knowledge and the gifts. So what do you want people to get from this podcast, Ms. Willis?
Um, I really just want, and I'm just speaking to educators. From this podcast, just understand, um, and just be mindful that our kids are dealing with a lot. Okay, and not just thinking about the pandemic, but just period. Depending on the population that that you're teaching, but just understand that mental health is real. Okay, and a lot of our scholars are dealing with mental health issues, and so as an educator, just keep that in mind. And once you keep that in mind and understand and be able to relate to your kids more, the better relationships you will have with the kids, and you will be able to reach them a lot better. So that's what I just want people to get from this, just to understand that as an educator, you have to empathize and be able to be understanding to the fact that our kids are dealing with a lot. They're
Yeah,
dealing with a lot.
yeah. You hit it. You said empathy, and empathy is different from sympathy.
Yes.
You don't want you to feel bad.
No, don't feel bad. No.
Bad, but try to relate, put yourself in
Mm-hmm.
my shoes. Even if my shoes are smaller, yeah, you feel that tension. Yeah, that's what I'm going through on a day-to-day basis now.
Mm-hmm.
Chill out. Help me out,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely,
Yes.
absolutely, absolutely. That's simplicity, y'all. I got my sister Vickie Willis. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
your energy, your story, and just your everything else. That I'm just super excited for your future, sis. You said I feel like it's like a newborn day for you, right?
It is. It is.
Yeah, you about to
You
make.
have motivated me to, move forward with
Yeah,
this book and stop talking about it and just be about it.
yeah. Let's do it. Let's do it. All right,
Yes.
y'all. Let's get it.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, of course.